Do you ever feel like you're constantly starting new projects, only to abandon them for the next exciting idea? You're definitely not alone. We're diving deep into the shiny object syndrome, the invisible force that's sabotaging your goals and leaving you in a cycle of perpetual unfulfillment. Get ready to understand why you can't finish what you start, and more importantly, how to finally break free. Imagine finally achieving that big dream you've been chasing. What if I told you there's a sneaky psychological trap, an invisible enemy that's preventing you from ever reaching it? We're exposing the shiny object syndrome and the societal pressures that keep you constantly distracted. Discover why your brilliant ideas are actually holding you back, and how to reclaim your focus to truly finish what you begin. This year, you promised yourself you'd finish your goals. But just like every other year, a new, shinier idea has probably derailed you. In this video, we're ripping off the Band-Aid and revealing the uncomfortable truth behind the shiny object syndrome. Prepare to confront the real reasons why you're stuck in a loop of unfinished projects and learn the exact steps to finally achieve lasting success. Welcome to the shiny object syndrome. Why you can't finish your goals. The perpetual pursuit of the new, the exciting, the unexplored. It's a pattern many of us recognize, especially as the calendar flips to a new year. The new year, new me mantra often becomes less about actual transformation and more about a launchpad for endless, unfinished projects. January 1st arrives, brimming with resolutions. Learn a new language, write a novel, start a business, master a musical instrument. Each goal sparkles with potential, a fresh canvas awaiting our artistic touch. But then, somewhere around February or March, another idea, even brighter, even more alluring, catches our eye. And just like that, the previous commitment begins to fade into the background. This isn't merely about distraction. It's a deeply ingrained pattern we call the shiny object syndrome. It's the tendency to abandon perfectly viable, often valuable ideas and projects for novel, often less valuable, pursuits. It's the entrepreneurial spirit gone awry, the creative impulse untamed. The initial impact is always intoxicating, a surge of excitement, a burst of motivation, the feeling that this time will be different. But inevitably, this honeymoon phase gives way to the inevitable crash of unfulfilled potential, leaving behind a trail of half-finished endeavors and a growing sense of inadequacy. At its core, this syndrome is fueled by a potent cocktail of psychological factors. The primary culprit? Dopamine. New ideas, new challenges, new beginnings, they all trigger a powerful dopamine hit in our brains, a rush of pleasure and reward that old established goals simply can't compete with. The grind of consistent effort, the slow, incremental progress of a long-term project, lacks the immediate gratification that a brand new concept offers. We become addicted to the start, to the thrill of novelty, rather than the satisfaction of completion. This is further amplified by the pervasive fear of missing out, or FOMO, and our comparison culture. Social media, with its endless scroll of curated successes and innovative breakthroughs, constantly bombards us with the idea that better opportunities are always just around the corner. We see others launching new ventures, mastering new skills, and we begin to question if our current path is truly the best path. This constant influx of information fosters a belief that there's always something more exciting, more profitable, more fulfilling, just beyond our grasp. The illusion of progress also plays a significant role. Simply starting. Something new feels productive. It gives us a temporary sense of accomplishment, a fleeting belief that we are moving forward, even if those starts rarely lead to anything concrete. This false sense of productivity can be incredibly deceptive, masking the underlying issue of non-completion. Beyond individual psychology, societal pressures exacerbate the shiny object syndrome. The myth of multitasking and the expectation of being always on implicitly encourage us to juggle multiple projects simultaneously. Modern work culture often glorifies the hustle, portraying a constant state of busyness as a badge of honor. But when is a pivot an act of innovation? And when is it merely a distraction from the hard work required to see an existing vision through? The influencer effect also contributes significantly. The curated lives of online personalities often make consistent, long-term effort seem boring or inefficient. We see overnight successes and instant transformations, leading us to believe that our own slow, steady progress is somehow inadequate. We're taught to chase the next big thing, rather than nurturing the current good thing. This constant pursuit of novelty, fueled by dopamine and external pressures, comes at a significant cost. The compounding effect of unfinished goals is perhaps one of the most insidious. Each abandoned project, each half-hearted attempt, doesn't just disappear. It accumulates. These small, individual failures snowball into a pervasive sense of overwhelm and inadequacy. You look back at a graveyard of brilliant ideas, innovative concepts, and promising starts, all left to wither. This creates a psychological burden, a quiet voice that whispers, "You never finish anything." It erodes your confidence, making it harder to even begin the next venture, let alone see it to fruition. Then there's the critical concept of opportunity cost. Every time you shift your focus, every time you jump to a new, shiny object, you're not just abandoning the previous project, you're also sacrificing what could have been achieved had you stayed the course. This isn't just about financial loss in a business context. It applies equally to personal growth, skill development, and relational depth. What knowledge did you miss out on by not completing that online course? What connections did you fail to solidify by not seeing that community project through? What personal mastery did you forego by constantly chasing the next trendy hobby? The sum of these foregone opportunities represents a significant, often invisible void in your life and career. Perhaps the most damaging long-term consequence is the erosion of self-trust. When you repeatedly fail to follow through on commitments you make to yourself, even small ones, you slowly but surely diminish your belief in your own ability to accomplish anything significant. This isn't just about external validation, it's an internal breakdown of integrity. You start to doubt your judgment, your discipline, and your capacity for sustained effort. This self-doubt becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, making it even harder to commit to new endeavors and creating a vicious cycle of initiation without completion. The emotional toll of this constant cycle of excitement, effort, and abandonment can lead to frustration, burnout, and a deep-seated feeling of unfulfillment, regardless of how many new beginnings you embark upon. But there is a way out of this labyrinth of distraction. Breaking the cycle starts with a fundamental shift in perspective, embracing the power of completion over initiation. We are often celebrated for our ideas, our vision, our ability to start things, but true impact, true mastery, and true satisfaction come from seeing things through. This means consciously shifting your internal reward system from the dopamine hit of novelty to the deep, resonant satisfaction of a finished product, a completed goal, a realized vision. It's about finding joy not just in the spark of creation, but in the steady flame of execution. One powerful strategy is to set boring goals. This might sound counterintuitive in a world that champions excitement and innovation, but there's profound wisdom in it. Boring goals are often synonymous with consistent, incremental progress. They are the daily habits, the small, repeatable actions that, when compounded over time, lead to extraordinary results. Think of a writer committing to 500 words a day, rather than waiting for the muse to strike for a novel-writing binge, or an entrepreneur focusing on one key metric for growth, rather than launching 5 new features simultaneously. These goals might lack the immediate wow factor, but they build momentum, create discipline, and, most importantly, lead to consistent completion. To truly cultivate this focus, practical steps are essential. Implementing digital detoxes and focused work blocks can dramatically minimize external distractions. This isn't about becoming a hermit, but about consciously creating sacred spaces and times for deep work. Turning off notifications, closing irrelevant tabs, and even scheduling periods away from your phone can create the mental bandwidth necessary to concentrate on a single task. These aren't just productivity hacks, they are acts of self-preservation in an increasingly fragmented world. By consciously reducing the noise, you create the space for clarity, for sustained effort, and for the quiet satisfaction that comes from genuinely moving the needle on your most important goals. The quiet satisfaction that comes from genuinely moving the needle on your most important goals is a profound reward. It's about building resilience against the allure of the new, recognizing that true innovation often comes from perfecting what you already have, rather than constantly chasing the next big thing. This disciplined approach isn't about stifling creativity, it's about channeling it effectively, ensuring that your brilliant ideas don't become mere fleeting thoughts, but evolve into tangible achievements. It's about understanding that the journey to mastery is paved with consistent effort, not sporadic bursts of enthusiasm. Another critical component in breaking free from the shiny object syndrome is cultivating self-awareness. This means taking the time to understand your own patterns, triggers, and the underlying reasons why you tend to abandon projects. Is it a fear of failure, where starting something new feels safer than the risk of completing an existing one? Or perhaps a fear of success, where the implications of achieving a major goal feel overwhelming? Journaling, mindfulness practices, or even talking to a trusted mentor can help uncover these deeper motivations. Once you understand the root cause, you can develop targeted strategies to address it, rather than just treating the symptoms of constant distraction. Furthermore, building a strong support system can make an immense difference. Share your goals with a friend, family member, or a professional coach who can hold you accountable. When you articulate your intentions to someone else, the commitment often feels more concrete. This external accountability can provide the necessary push when your internal motivation wanes, helping you navigate the inevitable challenges and plateaus that arise on any long-term project. It's a way of creating a buffer against the impulsive desire to switch gears, offering a moment of reflection before succumbing to the next shiny idea. Finally, redefine your relationship with failure. In the pursuit of perfection, many abandon projects at the first sign of difficulty or when the initial excitement fades. But true growth comes from embracing obstacles as learning opportunities. Every misstep, every setback, is not a reason to pivot to something new, but an invitation to refine, adapt, and deepen your understanding. This resilience is the antidote to the shiny object syndrome. It teaches you that the value isn't just in the pristine final product, but in the grit and determination cultivated through the process of overcoming challenges. When you learn to see failure not as an endpoint, but as a stepping stone, the temptation to abandon a project for an easier, newer one diminishes significantly. Breaking free from the cycle of unfulfilled potential requires a conscious, sustained effort. It means choosing depth over breadth, completion over initiation, and discipline over fleeting excitement. It's about recognizing that the most valuable treasure isn't always the newest or the brightest, but the one you've diligently polished and brought to fruition. When you commit to finishing what you start, you not only achieve your goals, but also build an invaluable foundation of self-trust, resilience, and true satisfaction. It's a journey that transforms not just your projects, but your very approach to life, leading you towards a future where your vision is not just imagined, but realized. So, the next time a shiny new object beckons, remember the profound power of seeing things through, and choose the path of lasting accomplishment.